NASCAR escaped a public relations headache last week by granting Kyle Larson a waiver to compete in the playoffs despite missing the Coca-Cola 600. That gesture of goodwill did not make things easy at Sonoma Raceway over the weekend, as teams remain dissatisfied with NASCAR's glacial pace in reaching a new charter deal. And this could cost NASCAR in the long run. Several team owners said that NASCAR's most recent proposal, issued nearly 2 weeks ago, was one of the worst proposals yet from the Stock Car Series sanctioning body. Among the complaints, the France family, which owns NASCAR as a private company, has yet to agree to make the charters permanent. The series has rolled back previous offers, and the proposal now includes a provision that would allow the France family NASCAR to purchase charters, which are central to the series' business model. When team owners questioned NASCAR's ownership and operation of race teams, they were told that it is no different than IndyCar, which is owned by Roger Penske and has 3 cars in that series. It was also mentioned that NASCAR owns the IMSA sports car circuit, and one of the teams is owned by Chairman Jim France. Many of the teams are defeated and fear that NASCAR will make a take-it-or-leave-it offer in the showdown. Even though the teams decided in February to employ top antitrust sports attorney Jeffrey Kessler as an advisor, no progress has been made toward filing a lawsuit. A few teams are hesitant to pursue legal action. There are now 36 charters, which ensure inclusion into every race for the 15 teams who hold them. The charters expire at the conclusion of the season, and discussions for a new deal have been ongoing for several years. Teams are seeking the following terms: making the charters permanent, earning 45% of conventional media money, 33% of new revenue, and a guaranteed seat at the table to give teams some governance authority. NASCAR's most recent offer was for charters that are guaranteed for 7 years, with an option for another 7 years after that. It also proposed a cost cap, and, in addition to allowing the France family to purchase charters, a provision that would allow private equity companies to invest in charters. I think there's still a ton of work to do, not a little bit of work, quite a bit. So that's going to be the priority over the next few months to get this thing a little closer, Denny Hamlin, co-owner of 23XI Racing, said after NASCAR's offer was reviewed. Stewart-Haas Racing announced last month that it would close down at the end of the season, putting all 4 Cup Series charters on the market. The very following day, Front Row Motorsports announced that it has received a charter to grow to 3 teams next season. Front Row did not reveal how it obtained the charter or how much it cost. Spire Motorsports is said to have spent $40 million last year when it secured its most recent charter. At Sonoma, team owners questioned how a purchase price for Front Row could have been determined given that the present charters will expire at the conclusion of the season if no agreement is reached. Even SHR co-owner Tony Stewart was taken aback by the demand in the team's 4 charters amidst the uncertainty. Teams are reportedly concerned that Front Row's declaration indicates that some of the smaller teams are willing to accept NASCAR's offer, despite an agreement that all 15 teams would work together in discussions. However, there is no apparent emergency strategy. The teams do not want to form their own racing league and think NASCAR would continue without Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, or Team Penske if they boycott races. In such a situation, spectators would be left to determine if the substitutes, most likely drivers and teams from lower-level series, deliver a watchable product. It will be interesting to see how it all comes together, but I can speak for my group just saying we'd like to get a deal done sooner than later because certainly it's hard to plan for the future when we don't have a charter agreement, and right now, we don't, Hamlin stated on his podcast. So, after months of being under caution, the 2024 NASCAR season has officially entered the interesting times phase, which has little to do with what occurs on the track. Instead, it is all about the Cup Series garage weighing up who everyone else is, discovering who they really are, and, most crucially, determining what the teams are truly worth. It was a NASCAR team executive who recently, "Charter truth is going to be out there now. Feelings are going to get hurt. Because no one actually wants to hear what they're really worth. Unless you're Jeff Bezos, it's never as much as you think." The decision to create charters, which guarantee a place at the stock car racing banquet table, changed that by promising to assist racers become the individuals with the real money, finally. When and if they chose to move on, they may make some money by selling their charters to someone else who was anxious to race. A financial transfer of the NASCAR charter. But how much does each of those charts cost? That is the question that SHR's charter fire sale will address. And the timing couldn't be better, or worse, depending on who you ask. In 2018, Furniture Row Racing left and sold its charter to Spire Motorsports for a mere $6 million. 3 years later, with the nation still recovering from the epidemic, Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan's 23XI Racing paid $21 million for departing Starcom Racing's charter. Last year, Spire purchased another charter, this time from Live Fast Motorsports, for an estimated $40 million. According to ESPN, Stewart-Haas Racing's discussions with potential purchasers have fallen short of that figure, hovering around $25 million. The first of their 3 charters is scheduled to include established and expanding teams Front Row Motorsports, 2311, and Trackhouse Racing. Front Row has previously said that it would grow to 3 cars in 2025 and has obtained a charter to do so, and Trackhouse has not denied working on a contract. Meanwhile, when questioned about purchasing a new charter on his Actions Detrimental podcast, Hamlin gave a pivotal response, claiming that he did not build his new race facility with the intention of having only the 2 cars it presently holds, but he also stated, 2311 is interested in getting a charter deal done. On January 1st, 2025, we don't even have a charter. You can't buy or sell something that doesn't exist, in our eyes. So, we have 2 charters till the end of this year, and until we get a charter agreement done, that's all we have. I'm not going to put myself in a position to where I'm having to shell out millions and millions of dollars every year to just keep this thing going. So, it has to make financial sense, and the charter agreement needs to be better than what it is certainly before I invest any more money in it. Then he was asked, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Not from what I've seen. We got something back last week, but I didn't see anything there that was much different than what we saw in December. So, what exactly is he talking about? You see, in this unique and still new NASCAR world, everyone is still getting used to sitting across a negotiating table with team owners and their charters on one side, the Race Team Alliance, or RTA, and NASCAR executives who created those charters and still own and operate the events and most racetracks on the other. While the growth in charter value is undeniable, just ask Spire Motorsports, who spent $6 million and $35 million for the same product only 5 years apart. The fledgling NASCAR charters are still not in the same financial galaxy as stick and ball sports. The Golden State Warriors owners paid $50 million for the rights to a WNBA expansion club in 2023, more than 2 years before the league burst into what it is today. In 2018, the NFL's Carolina Panthers, who are located just down the road from most NASCAR race shops, sold for $2.275 billion. In other words, NASCAR team owners' margins remain tighter than a damp fire suit set out to dry in the sun. They will do whatever to increase the amount of money in their charter coffers or to extend the life of their charter contracts. That's why they haven't reached a deal with NASCAR to extend their charter. There was a time when that negotiation appeared to be a formality, a predetermined outcome. Then, in November 2023, NASCAR announced a new 7-year, $7.7 billion television agreement with 4 networks. The team's side of the table is not pleased with how that pie chart will be divided between NASCAR, the racetracks, and the teams. Currently, teams receive 39% of TV money, tracks 51%, and NASCAR 10%. It is important to note that NASCAR controls the majority of the racetracks. Last year, team owners informed the media that sponsorship accounts for up to 80% of their budget, a battle that has persisted since the 2008 stock market meltdown. Current charter agreement between NASCAR and its teams ends on the date Hamlin indicated, which also coincides with the expiration of the existing TV arrangement. Herein lays the tire rub. The RTA wants to enhance its share of the new media rights arrangement. NASCAR responded with an increase, but not as much as the teams desired, as part of a new charter agreement that would last 7 years, or until the conclusion of the existing TV arrangement. However, most club owners prefer that their new agreements have no expiration date, implying that they are not the only side of the table doing appraisals. See, interesting times that will eventually end. With a deadline of December 31st, they will have to. NASCAR COO Steve O'Donnell has expressed confidence that a new charter deal is very close. The RTA, TNC, and NASCAR have yet to reveal how close, how it finishes, how much everyone gets, and how many more feelings are harmed as a result of spreadsheets of self-worth. What do you think? Will some teams leave the sport if they won't reach an agreement soon? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.